Live reports on Southwest Washington football come from reporter Bryan Levesque. Check out GSHLFootball.com for more. The Fan Postgame Scoreboard Show continues on ESPN Sports Radio 1080, The Fan.
Bryan Levesque up in the comfy digs of the Tacoma Dome for the 3A semifinal game between Camas and O'Day. The Fighting Irish out to a 14-3 halftime lead when last we discussed with you, Brian. Camas able to make a game of this, getting within a point. What happened in the fourth quarter?
Well, what happened in the fourth quarter, Jason, was pretty much, O'Day had the football the whole game. I mean, the last 14 minutes of the game, Skyview had the ball for a total, Camas had the ball for a total of 71 seconds. That's not going to help you win a playoff game, let alone a semifinals game.
Certainly not. The final 21-13, but as you mentioned at halftime, all the statistics other than the scoreboard were pretty even. What was it Camas wasn't able to capitalize on to get to their first championship appearance?
Well, first quarter, Zach Marshall ran the ball 6 times for 51 yards. Camas was moving the ball up and down the field. He unfortunately left the game with a dislocated thumb. He ended up leaving and went to the hospital. I think that not only physically on the field, what Marshall can do for them. I mean, he early on, one of the plays, besides running the football well and catching it out of the backfield, Gennaro rolled out, and they had one of their big, looked like a 230-pound linebacker coming in, and Zach Marshall just stepped up in the pocket and stood that guy straight up and gave Gennaro time to throw the football. They lost all that. Beasley had to come in as the sophomore running back, and he did okay. He ran the ball 9 times for 76 yards. About 40 of that came right at the end of the half on a little, Statue of Liberty play that they missed that long field goal. It just, and then defensively when they got behind, and that's what O'Day likes to do. If they can get on top of people, they just keep chunking away, running the football on you. And when you can't stop them from putting together long time consuming drives, and then you can't move the football yourself, it's just going to be hard to beat a good team like that.
Well, the Greater St. Helens League has one more shot at a title participant. That will be Skyview in the 4A semifinals tomorrow. What sort of chances do they have looking at things taking on a Lake Stevens team that I'm sure nobody down here knows the first thing about?
Yeah, Lake Stevens, it's going to be a good football team. They've been ranked up in the top 10 all year. They're 12-0. They haven't lost a game. We saw a little bit of them when they played Heritage in Week 10. They beat Heritage 44-7. It was close. They were only up 14-0 right before half. Ended up actually going into the half 37-0 on Heritage, scored 23 points in the final 2 minutes. But they're a solid football team. They got a wide receiver, Christian Gaska. People in our area, if they're familiar with Jesse Zolk, who's, just like a little slippery guy that can do everything, receiving, returning punts, interceptions. It's like a Jesse Zolk, except this guy, is significantly bigger. He's 6 foot, 170 pounds. So they got that. And then Jake Nelson, their quarterback, he's in the running to be the state possibly 4A player of the year. He doesn't have any offers, but he's definitely a very good high school quarterback and throwing to Gaska. So they can sling the rock around. They ended up last week taking on the Eastlake team who beat Skyline at the end of the year, and in week 8 and going into week 9 was the number 1 team in state, and Eastlake had only lost 1 game to Woodinville. They ended up Lake Stevens beat Eastlake last week 50-21. So that was a really good defensive Eastlake team, and Eastlake turned their ball over a lot. But again, if one team's turning the ball over, another team's forcing turnovers. So we're going to see if they have to run Parker Henry a lot. Like Bellarmine Prep last week, they took away a lot of their run game. So if Skyview can mix it up, though, and keep Kieran McDonough getting the screens out to Riley Henderson and getting them out to Mo Morrison, if they can find, Hayden Shue and David Garlington on some deeper passes, and then just keep, running the ball with Parker Henry, they're definitely not going to get blown out in this game, and it's going to be really close. And when you get down to the Final Fours, you just never know. They're all good football teams.
No question. 7 o'clock tomorrow, the 4A semifinal in the Tacoma Dome. You will be there. You can log on to GSHLFootball.com and get the up-to-date updates consistently throughout, so you can follow along as well. Brian, as always, we appreciate it, and hopefully we'll have reason to talk to you next week, and we'll see if Skyview can't be playing for a 4A championship.
That would be awesome, Swag.
All righty. Thanks so much, Brian. Bryan Levesque, GSHL Football.com.